All right, we are live. Welcome to another show, August 12th, 2025 for Heart-Centered Marketing. My name is Joey Ragona. I am here live with you. If you're here live with me, let me know with a hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you're watching the replay, by the way. I'm looking down here on my monitor for the Facebook, if there's any comments coming in there, or if you're on another channel, let me know. And I can see the comments coming over here. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about my Unfunnel method, beyond the Unfunnel, and how to simplify even more, because once you do the Unfunnel thing, you probably have a really simple business. So I want to extend that for you and go beyond what the Unfunnel does for you for simplifying your business. Give you a little bit of tips. Got a whole bunch of notes here that I want to refer to, and hopefully we'll get to them all. And if you have any questions regarding this, let me know. Give me some feedback on it, or maybe give me some suggestions on what you're doing, okay, when it comes to Unfunnel. So what does Unfunnel mean? Let me start off with that, because years ago, a few years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago, I started something called the Unfunnel, and that was a movement, and it still is a movement where it's beyond funnels. Doesn't mean you completely remove funnels, but you simplify down to the one or two things that you need to do to bring people into your world and to help them and to basically sell your program. And I've watched hundreds of entrepreneurs already transform their business by stripping away complexity, and that's what this is all about. But this is what nobody really talks about. What happens after you simplify? And once I got to that simplification process, this is where I was stuck. And tonight we're going to go beyond the basics of that. So I want to quickly refresh your memory on what Unfunnel actually means, because traditional funnels are those linear things, whether it's this way or it's like this way, right? So it's this artificial pressure, it's complexity. It's basically all about trying to get as much money in your bank account as possible, or maybe not you, because you're following my channel here. And heart-centered entrepreneurs are all about making transformations and missions more than over money. Money is really important to us. We still need a very healthy business, but it's more about how do I transform people? And as a result of that transformation, then we bring money in. So the Unfunnel is this circular thinking. It's about authentic relationships that come back, and we create simplified pathways in order for them to get to us. That's what Unfunnel really means. So it doesn't mean, hey, there's no opt-in. It doesn't mean there's no lead magnet, or I like to call it a gift. It doesn't mean all of that. It just means that there's no forceful pathway that we put people through that we're used to, coming into a funnel where you opt in for something and you get 5 emails, and then all of a sudden you get sent to a sales page and all that stuff. The core principle of the Unfunnel, is about creating friendships before finances. That's what this is all about. Friendships before finances. So the new phase is the amplification phase. This is where I put some notes down and thoughts before today's call. And once you simplified, the real opportunity begins, because you have this strategic amplification of what you're doing. And I'm really careful about using the word scale, because I'm not, I think that people like to scale in the terms of how do I get more, or get in front of more people, and all these other, perspectives of what scale really means. Way too soon, because they're not ready for it. But this is part of scale, if you, in a very delicate way of, using that word beyond what it is normally used for. But this is about amplification. So the whole idea is you don't need to outproduce people. Like, so when you're in this area, the whole idea is to buy back your time, buy back. In my case, what I try to help everybody do is 80 to 90, 96% of your time is bought back because of this simplification of what you're doing. So you don't have to outproduce people. You don't have to do more. You need to out-align them. And that's what this is all about, because the more people get out there and try to scale their system and try to do more and more, I believe they're losing the connection that maybe got them there in the first place, or most of the people are not even connected that way. But you and I, as heart-centered entrepreneurs, that's how we are bringing people into our world. We are aligned with what we're doing. We're aligned with who we want to work with. And then the only thing in order to do more, or bring more money in, more revenue in, is not really to do more in terms of production wise, consistency on, content, things like that. That's normal, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it every single day. If someone else you saw does it every day, you could do it 3 times a week. You could do it, whatever's on your schedule in order to be consistent. But that's not what we're talking about. The main thing that you're looking at here is how to out align people. So you focus on fewer and deeper relationships versus this massive reach of people. And so I'd rather have 100 engaged dream clients over 10,000 or 100,000 lukewarm followers. The followers, they don't mean anything to me. What matters is the engagement that is inside the tribe. And that's really what the Unfunnel is worth, is looking for depth over width. The circular connection is about that people are not moving like linearly. That's a hard word for me to say. Okay, they circle back, right? So they're coming in at different points. They might watch a YouTube video, or they might read a post, or be in your Facebook group or something like that. And it doesn't mean that they're just going to go to the next step, whatever step you've designed um, in your customer journey. That's why the customer journey to me it's really not a journey. It's a pick your own path. It's a pick your own journey. And so that's why they circle back. So you create these multiple points of entry. And for me, it's about content, conversations, and collaborations. That's all it is. So I'm always creating some kind of content. This is part of it. This is part of the content. And I'm enjoying conversations, whether they're DMs, whether they're emails, whether they're in my Facebook group. And these are not sales conversations. These are just human to human conversations, right? That's what it's about. And then collaborations. So once someone joins my Atlas program, let's say, we are collaborating together. I'm helping them build their business through the models, frameworks, and everything that I've built within Atlas, that it's adapting to them. We are collaborating on how to move them forward. So it's not this, here's the program, go watch it, and thank you for your money. It's more about the collaboration. That's how the circular connection model really works. So your dream clients right now are waiting at the bottom of that funnel, if you want to call it that. They're not waiting for this traditional funnel where they have to go through all the steps and try to get to you. So the advanced content piece of this is where most people, they never get to this, but it's where the magic really happens. It's where you create this category of one. And I did this back again 6-7 years ago, and it created this Unfunnel, the movement, and people laughed at me. Like, they thought it was crazy because funnels were the biggest thing, but I created this category of one, that my thing was about the opposite of funnels. Now there's people catching up. There's people talking, about simplifying things and all this stuff, removing steps of funnels. And they don't call it Unfunnel, but basically that's what it is. That's cool. I'm honored with that. But I'm the one that started that movement back then. And so it's a category of one. When you think of it, Unfunnel, who you're going to think of? And that's going to be myself, because I created that movement. But you have to be prepared in order for people to look at you sideways, right? But the only way you're going to stand out is when you truly stand out for something. And it's not just a marketing thing. It's more of, what do you truly believe that is different and opposite of what everybody else is doing? So you stop competing. You start creating new categories. Unfunnel, or dysfunnel, or whatever other word you're using, was not a category. It is now a category. And you position yourself as the alternative to what's going on out there, not just another option. It's not just another, oh, let's do a funnel a little bit simpler. No, this is unfunneling. This is a completely different thing. So the ecosystem approach of how you're doing this, how you're simplifying everything, is you build a complete environment out of what you're doing, not just a business. You have interaction that reinforces your unique approach. So every time I'm in a conversation, it's always about funnels. And then I might ask about, like, what are your steps, or what are you doing, and what's frustrating you? And it always comes down to the conversations I have about overwhelm and all the landing pages and all these other things. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're not unfunneling. And then now we'll get into a conversation. Does that make sense? And it positions me in a different category altogether. So this to me is simplification, because I never have to think about, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to promote? Or what is my core values? What is the business always about? And how do I get someone to shift their perspective on what they're doing, so that I can, for lack of a better term, sell them on what I can help them do. So I don't have to sell anything, because I've positioned myself as a category of one by Unfunnel, and by saying that the dream client is a completely different thing than an ideal client avatar, which it is. And again, it's not a marketing thing. It's something I truly believe. It's something that I truly talk about. So that simplification of what I do beyond just I've unfunneled, I've taken away all the stuff that I really have to do to try to convince people and do webinars and do all these other things. I've simplified my business down to 3 core elements that I talk about, which is the clarity, the alignment of what you know, who you're serving, which is the calibrate. Like let's get aligned with who you're talking to and what you're serving. Like let's calibrate what you're doing. And then it's connection. Like how do you actually connect with these people in terms of, another lack of a better term would be marketing. Like how do you market yourself to get out there once you know exactly who you're speaking to? And then there you have the consistency on moving people into your world, which is the commitment part, which is where they're committing, not you. It's where you're in. I guess you should commit to that too, right? But they're committing to working with you. Those are like the 3 core phases of what I really do. And the last piece, the commitment piece on the client side, is the sales. Like how do I get sales? So as long as I simplify all of that, and I'm talking about this every single day, I can easily scale, if you want to call it that, because I'm not talking about anything different. I'm not talking about, creating new products or anything like that. Everything is aligned within those phases, and those phases interact with any offer, if you want to call it that. Like recently, I just created a new offer, if you want to call it that, but it's still part of the main Atlas program, the main Atlas OS. That makes sense? So it's not a new product at all. It's part of the same product, and it's just a different entry point. And that's what I mean by simplifying everything that you do because you're so focused. If you're here live with me, by the way, let me know with a hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you got any questions, please, I'd love to know. So the questions, I have a couple of questions here that might spark you to understand how do I know that I'm ready to go beyond where I am? Like what are the signs that you're ready to go beyond of the unfunneling? Here's one. You've simplified your system and it's working consistently. This is what I just told you. My system is working consistently. I've done this now for the last 5-6 years. It's the same thing again and again and again, and it's working consistently. I know that if I put someone through Atlas, it will work. They follow me and we're working together, collaborate. Remember I told you about that? If we work together, it will work. You're attracting quality over quantity. So that for sure is where I'm at. I don't have thousands of people joining my Atlas OS per year. 50 to 100 maybe join up. That's all I'm looking for, because I know that part of my simplicity is the collaboration part. Part of what I do best is once you're in my world, or you're inside the OS, inside the program, inside the coaching, I don't want to just leave you hanging. I want to guide you. I want to be part of that journey with you, collaborating, so you can bring me other problems or bring me things that you're learning or need more understanding. So that's part of what I do. And that's why I know that if I'm attracting people, it's quality over quantity. That's all I'm looking for. If people seek you out rather than you chasing them, this is another way that these are warning signs, if you want to call it, good warning signs that you're ready to go beyond. So people seek me out. That's what happens. They come into my DMs or my emails, or show up where I'm broadcasting or doing a workshop or something like that. They seek me out, watch that, and then they'll DM me. And it doesn't happen. Like there's not tens of thousands of people doing this every single day. I want to be real. It's far and few between, but those far and few are the quality people that are open to new perspectives, open to learning more about what I'm talking about. That makes my life a lot simpler. Another warning sign for moving beyond where you are in the terms of the unfunnel is you're getting referrals from people who never worked with you. And that's huge, because the content or the way that I teach how to reach dream clients is by engaging in conversations that may or may not be with a dream client. Like let's call it on a Facebook thread or something. Like let's say you're inside a group and you're actually engaging and helping and giving some really great value. A lot of people will reach out to that person or think that person that they're engaging with is going to be the client. They make the mistake of that. And that's where, for me, that's not where it is. Most of those people that I'm engaging with on threads, helping out, are points of, what's a better word for this? It's a display point, really, because it's kind of like a stage where you're actually doing work and helping people out, but your dream client is on the other side. They're watching from the sidelines and they're watching what you're doing. They're reading what you say. And that is where those people, the right ones, are going to reach out to you privately. So that's what I mean by referrals. Or you get someone who says, hey, you know who's really great at unfunneling, who's to simplify your business and give you back your life, give you back your time? It's Joey. So when you start getting these 4 things coming at you, then you're ready for beyond. So here's some sample questions to address, okay? 1 is, how do I know when I'm ready to move beyond basic simplification? How do you know that? Number 2 is, what if my industry expects traditional funnels? So for me, doesn't matter. Anything that is about traditional funnels, I am talking the opposite of it. So I know funnels work for some people, but in the context of what I'm doing in simplification is totally opposite of it. So that's an opportunity for me to showcase what I do best. And if you're going, one of the big questions that comes back to me is, how do you scale a relationship first approach? And the answer really is you can't, in terms of what scale means to you. If you're looking at 1,000 or hundreds of thousands of people and you have this relationship first approach, it's very difficult to have personal relationships. That's why I limit the people that I bring in to 50 to 100 per year. And that's still a lot of personal relationships. But I know that relationships, sometimes they might be heavy on for a year or two, and then they kind of slow down. Doesn't mean that they're completely removed, but they're not as heavy anymore. So you replace them with newer conversations, new relationships that need more of your time. But it doesn't mean that the older relationships, you ignore them. If they come back into the picture or ask a question or whatever it looks like, you're still right there. So I can handle, for the next 10 years, 100 people, that's 1,000 people over the next 10 years of personal relationships. That makes sense? So that's what this means, to go beyond the unfunnel. The unfunnel is the piece that gives you back your life. It gives you back your freedom. It simplifies your life. It simplifies your business. It gives you back the relationships that you may have been violating now or ignoring, like family, that kind of stuff. And then it's beyond, and then to build your business beyond that. Once you've simplified by using Unfunnel, I'm telling you, it's a world of difference. Especially if you've been building funnels the traditional way, it gets you to this point of simplification that you may feel as though, wow, this is like, what else is there to do? Because you have all of this time. But the way that you grow the business is by amplifying the simplicity, not by adding more and outproducing and doing more and more and more. You do more of the 4% multiplier, which is the smaller things that have got you there in the first place. I hope this makes sense. If not, let me know in the chat. I will come back and answer any questions. If you're here live, or actually now, if you're here for the replay, let me know with the hashtag replay. Great having you here. Thank you for all of the support. We'll see you next week for another heart-centered marketing.